exciting Marvel Strike Force blog post. As you guys can see, July 19th time recording, Sagas and Awakened abilities. Typically, we don't see updates in the middle of the week like this, especially early in the week on a Tuesday. So there's a lot to unpack. So I figured I'd make a quick video just to kind of showcase for you guys in terms of what's happening. So as you guys may have seen here, the next chapter of the Road to Apocalypse, more additional details on how he's actually going to get unlocked. But what's even more interesting is there is going to be a new game mode where we're actually able to play through each stage of this exciting story for Apocalypse. He's actually going to be granting gifts to each of the 4 Horsemen. So that means, yes, our legendary Horsemen that we've gotten, or at least been able to unlock and accomplish during these last 6 months, we're actually going to get a chance now to actually be able to get some more added abilities, depending on this game mode that we go through. So I also really like the fact that they've included screenshots kind of showing you what the mode is going to look like. But overall, guys, had a quick view overall, and it's going to be 5 sagas in total, essentially seen as different chapters, right? And they're going to require each Horseman and their respective teams in order to participate. So just means now that there's even a little bit more pressure for us to actually have this, requirement to actually go through and unlock them, but as well, also building up the respective teams that they're part of. So in this case, the Darkhold team relating to Morgan Le Fay, and now the Unlimited X-Men team for the Scourge event relating to Rogue. So each saga is expected to be released after the second run, so at least we know that this is going to be happening after all the 4 Scourges have been done and completed. So that's good to know for sure. But I think this is really going to be what is going to be perceived as in the game as the next Dark Dimension, especially now that we've seen here a screenshot. It's going to be called the Epic Campaign, and again, it's likely going to require the Horsemen as well as their respective teams to be able to participate. So almost a more more specific Dark Dimension mode, where instead of giving us the opportunity to theory craft, we are going to have to require these teams to actually get through it, creating more linearity in terms of being able to go through and progress. But speculation wise, this is going to be likely the requirement to actually unlock Apocalypse at the end of the day. So that's something definitely consider. But you can see here, giving us a quick preview here with respect to each stage. We're going to see that the Pestilence Saga does require Morgan Le Fay and the Darkhold team, Famine Saga, so forth. So they do break it down. And then lastly, the Apocalypse Saga, which is the last and final chapter, requiring all 4 Horsemen and the respective teams. And that's really what's going to be, at the end of the day, the bottom line here. So there's going to be multiple difficulties. They do talk about that as well. Each saga is going to have 5 nodes, so 5 times 5, 25 nodes in total. There will also be different levels of difficulty and requirement for each. So they also give us this information. So I'm a huge fan of the transparency here by telling us this beforehand, and now knowing that these are going to be characters that are required. It's something we're going to need to be mindful as players, especially when we're going through it, and we need to ensure that we have these characters and teams ready to go. More specifically though, they also mentioned the gear tier 17 here coming in 6.3, so something to keep in mind in the back of your head. But I do strongly believe it's going to likely be similarly what we've seen previously. Likely going to also utilize teal gear, especially every time there's a new level. It's usually you do 2 levels of it, and then there's going to be an all new material. So I expect this to at least be teal gear for the next 2 gear levels, bare minimum. So 16, 17, and maybe 18 will still need teal, but we'll see. Only time is going to tell. But difficulty 1 requires tier 13, difficulty 2 requires tier 15, and then lastly, difficulty 3 is going to require this newly tier 17 that's not released in the game yet. Also, they do bring up the fact that the last and final Apocalypse stage is going to require different gear and ISO 8. So something they're going to be working on, but again, this is a timeline in the next 6 months to a year, so not surprised. They just want to release some exciting stuff for us to digest and process, but as well as be able to kind of ponder in terms of what's going to happen, right? But yeah, I definitely like this. Is a really good timing. I think there's been a lot of positivity with the game as of late, and this seems as good a time as any to really release this, because I feel like a lot of players, especially with the recent rescinding of the event with the Summer of Thunder, and being able to actually get rewards even though we never actually participated. I think that was a huge win for the community, and just dropping this, there's a lot of good positive news right now. I'm a big fan, and yeah, just keep it going, Scopely. These are all definitely right steps in the great direction that we're heading right now. So as you guys can see here, overall they're just talking about the different rewards that's going to be compiling, and what captivated my attention is going to be these new Awakened abilities, right? you're telling me that our already powerful legendary horsemen are going to get another arsenal, another trick up their sleeve, if you will. These awakened abilities are going to get bestowed gifts upon Apocalypse when we do complete each of their respective chapters, granting them even more power and unlocking new synergies. And that's going to be very, very interesting to see how that dynamic changes. Almost kind of like an empowered Thanos in the Black Order, right? But I think this is going to be a more limited matter in the sense that it's going to be just for that character, and just when you complete that chapter, it's going to be able to grant that ability. But you can see here, what's going to be different about that dynamic is that these awakened abilities, they are going to require materials actually to unlock and upgrade them. So that's something a little different. Typically, we're used to using T4 materials and upgrading an ability, and it's good to go. But in this case, it looks like there's going to be something we need to farm potentially. Maybe something that's limited that only comes out in an event. Only time's going to tell, but we'll definitely take a look and see what happens. We'll go through and beat the Pestilence Saga when it comes out, because Morgan Le Fay will be the first, and then as well we're going to be able to see what material this is. So you can see again a screenshot here kind of showing you what we're going to need to obtain. Again, at the very end of this campaign mode, 1-5 is going to be for Morgan Le Fay, and then that's going to give her that ability there. So yeah, this is just a sample, by the way. So this is obviously going to be dependent to change, subject to change, depending on if this is interpreted incorrectly, or maybe they had a typo. But you can see here her time warp ability here at level 8. It's actually going to be applying speed up for 2 turns now. And as well as the immunity for 1 turn itself. So I mean, that's what she's going to get added on top of that. Additionally, on top of that, she's also going to be gaining additional health, Darkhold gaining additional health, resistance. So these are just a sample of the different increases here that you're going to get. So I mean, I like how they're already sampling and showing us in terms of what they're going to be getting. And there you go. You have even a screenshot here of the little materials that we're going to utilize. 0 out of 200 fragments. So that's going to be really cool to see in action, especially when it changes the dynamic of these characters' abilities. So I really, really like that aspect. Furthermore, I'm loving this this branding, because they're also going to be changing up some costumes as well. So the full transformation of these Apocalypse characters included will actually be able to allow them to have variant costumes for each of them. So we're gonna get the original, but as well as have this chance to actually unlock these new ones. So this is how Morgan Le Fay is going to look after going through her saga. So I mean, I'm always welcome to change. I like the fact that she does look more BA with it. So you're definitely going to be keeping that in the back of your mind as well, guys, as we go through. But as well, they also do mention as well the new ISO 8 Blue level 5. So significant stat buffs, powerful new mechanics, and they're also going to be included as part of the reward. So it's something to keep in mind as well when we're going through it. As you can see, it looks like it's actually going to be required as part of the later difficulties, and we're going to see where the opportunities will be to get that. But they're giving us a sample size here. For instance, you'll need these crystals and class levels for difficulty 3, so it's going to be required, right? But you're going to see overall the 4 horsemen are going to be required, the teams for each, and then there's going to be several strike characters that are to be announced. So I mean, there's lots going on, lots of requirements that's going to be obviously added here. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is going to be their baby that they've been working on for a while, and I'm just excited how detailed this process has become with the event. So if you recall, this all started New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, when they first started announcing Apocalypse, and it's been quite a journey so far. We've in the recent months we've seen 2 of the most powerful legendaries being accessible, even if you're mid-game player and you have built the right rosters. Getting access to these legendaries has been absolutely phenomenal. So I hope they keep this going. But as well, we're going to see these new events coming about, and it'll be very, very interesting, definitely, to see these dynamics and how these events shake out. So there you guys have it, run through of the Marvel Strike Force Plus. Thank you as always, you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.